One of the most hotly debated issues of the past decade is the Equal Rights Amendment. And one of the issue's hottest debaters is my next guest. Will you please welcome a member of the American Conservative Union and national chairman of Stop ERA, Phyllis Schlafly. Welcome her, please. Were you expecting a more thunderous ovation than that, Phyllis, or are you used to certain people in the audience not being fans of yours?
Oh, well, I'm sure some people, the ones who are for ERA, are not fans of mine,
That's
but we're winning anyway.
Yes. If I may, I just want to read this. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. That doesn't quite tally with what's going on, does it? What's wrong with that, what I just read?
The easiest way to say what's wrong with it is to look at the present drive to reinstate the military draft. Just a few weeks ago, the House Armed Services Committee voted out a new bill to require the registration of men for the draft right after the 1980 election. Now, aren't we lucky that we don't have ERA, or it would be requiring the drafting of our daughters? And the American people don't want this, but that's what ERA would require.
Phyllis, I think I'd have to disagree with you about what the American people want, and I'd like to refer to what Senator Goldwater said in March of 1979. He said, exemption of women from compulsory military service was defeated by a Senate vote of 73 to 18 in March of 72. Likewise, an amendment to exempt women from combat duty was defeated 71 to 18 the same day in the Senate. The prior year, the House voted 265 to 87 against an exemption of women from the draft. This matter has been debated in 1970, 71, 72, this year and last year, with a variety of House and Senate reports addressing this issue. So I think we have already solved that issue regardless of the ERA.
That is why we are defeating ERA, and it's very misleading.
It has no relationship to the ERA. It's the way the law is now.
Oh, no, you are very much mistaken. What you are citing are the Senator Sam Ervin amendments to the draft, to the ERA. And ERA was passed out in a form that would require the drafting of women and putting women in military combat duty.
That's right.
Senator Goldwater voted against ERA, and it's very misleading to imply that he is for the drafting of women and putting them into military combat. Now, we have laws today which exempt women from military combat duty, one for the Army, one for the Navy, and one for the Air Force. If we have ERA, those laws become unconstitutional. And I think it is absolutely contemptible of any man to support a law which would involuntarily send our daughters or his daughters or anybody else's daughters into military combat duty. And that is what ERA will require. Nobody in the whole United States disputes this fact.
I think that Senator Proxmire disputes it. I think that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff disputes it because he says that women are already in combat situations. We will have to have an entirely new definition of combat.
We have laws today. They cannot disobey the law. We have one law for the Army, one for the Navy, and one for the Air Force. What Proxmire is trying to do is to repeal those laws. And we are not going to let him repeal those laws because we like those laws. He has held hearings on it. He wants women put in combat. And that just shows the very strong forces there are in this country who want to send the daughters of our country into military combat.
I don't think that is particular. There are many countries where women are, in fact, involved in military combat, and they're neither ashamed nor sorry for it. But I don't think
they're not.
I don't think that there's anyone.
The whole experience of all history shows that wars are not won with co-ed armies and co-ed navies. And if this United States of America didn't need to draft women and put them in combat when we were fighting in World War II against the Nazis on one side and the Japanese on the other, we sure don't need to have it today.
I think that's I think the issue is totally beside the point.
It's the most important issue because that's what they're trying to do.
Actually are fighting for the ERA in order to send and force women into combat. They are fighting for the ERA so that the woman whose husband has died and has 3 children and is working at a job standing next to a man who has 3 children also and is the supporter, and she is also that because her husband is dead. She should be paid the same money for the same job. That's what it's all about.
You know, we heard a little earlier on this program about consumer fraud, and the biggest consumer fraud in this country is the myth that ERA has anything to do with jobs. Now, if you listen to what Mike read, he didn't say that ERA prohibits discrimination by private industry. All ERA does is prohibit discrimination by the United States or by any state. That's the way you read it, and that's the text of it. Therefore, ERA will apply to the military, but it will not apply to private industry.
Stanley.
It will, in fact, apply to private industry.
Another fine mess you've gotten me into. Section 2, the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article.
Right, and when
I would
they
like to say something. Either we have a representative form of government, or we do not have a representative form of government. Either we wish to overthrow this government, or we wish to let it practice. It sounds to me like you have no confidence that the government can take care of the women of this country. Is that true?
It sounds to me like you have no confidence in the form of constitutional amendments that our country has had from the beginning of our country. When ERA came out, they gave them 7 years, and they couldn't make it, even with the help of millions of dollars of federal money, the White House pressure, and everything else.
Phyllis,
I'm glad you brought that up.
What role do you think American women should play, Phyllis Schlafly?
American women are the most fortunate class of people who ever lived. They have their choice to do whatever they want to with their lives. They can go into the workforce on the basis of equal pay for equal work, with the federal laws guaranteeing that, and even having a bureau enforcing affirmative action. They can get married, with the state laws saying the husband should support his wife. They can do both at the same time or at different times. ERA doesn't give women any right, any benefit, any opportunity that you haven't got now.
Phyllis, do you actually believe that? Do you not know women who would love to go into the working force in a particular position that they have trained themselves for, prepared for, and sought after? Can you honestly tell me that you do not know women who know that they have been denied that right, that position, because of their sex?
For everyone you can find, I can find 2 who got a job on affirmative action.
There are
I'd like to
many
see that.
states which do not legally require the husband to support the wife. It's more a matter of custom and moral obligation as it's accepted. And this is particularly obvious in the case of the displaced homemakers who have almost no support of their children after the husband has been gone 3 years and have to go through an incredibly expensive, emotional, burdensome legal fight to try to just get child support, let alone
alimony. But ERA
alimony.
won't help them, because under ERA, the husband wouldn't have any obligation at all to support
Yeah, but I don't
them.
think let me
The
say
ERA,
something.
I would like
Wait a minute. There's
What
one
they're
thing
saying,
I
what
understand. Hold it a minute.
No, I'm not saying
No,
they're not.
that's okay. There's one thing I understand. The party's over. It's time to call it a day. We are out of time.